Hello, my dears. Daniela here, and welcome to another episode of the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. I'm really excited to share today's episode with you for a couple of reasons. Now, I know there are a lot of you out there who are really into clean beauty, green beauty, organic beauty, all the things. And my guest today, Gaelle, is a champion in this area. Now, I loved hearing her perspective on ingredients, and truly, she just has such a genuine passion for this topic. But what really came out for me is that Gaelle has so much more to teach us than clean beauty. She's been a licensed esthetician for over 45 years and currently runs her organic skincare company, Gaelle Organics. And what I took away from the call was not only her passion and drive, but the lessons that she shared about being willing to fail. I love that she started her skincare company in her early 60s, and she's now 75 years old, going stronger than ever. What a beautiful thing. And you'll see when you hear the interview, I mean, Gaelle just has such a young spirit, such a fun energy. She's full of life. It's really, really a beautiful thing. Now, I am very blessed in the fact that I get to have conversations with estheticians all over the world. And a lot of times women enter the field of aesthetics as a second career. You know, you weren't able to go to beauty school like you wanted to because it wasn't accepted by your family as a viable profession or whatever reason, right? But you finally got to a point, maybe your kids graduated, there was some shift that happened in your life that you were able to do what you actually wanted and go to aesthetic school. But you feel this pressure to achieve success on warp speed, right? That I have had so many conversations with those of you that are going through this exact same process. But here's the thing, you've got time. Look at Gaelle. She started her skincare company in her 60s. Now, oftentimes I'll use Martha Stewart as an example of a woman who started her brand later in life. I think Martha was 54 or so. She was in her 50s for sure when she started. And now like she is a household name, right? And if we look at the founder of Drunk Elephant, she had 4 kids. And when her kids went to school, she was in her early 40s and realized that she had some more time on her hands. And she said, I'm going to start a skincare company. And she sold it for, several hundred millions of dollars. I don't know the exact number, but it's a lot of money. Age should not limit you. I want you to know that if you have a desire in your heart to do something, then you should do it. You've got time. Remember that we overestimate what we can do in a day, but we underestimate what we can do in a year. So just a little food for thought. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the interview for today. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did, and be sure to check out Gaelle on social media, check out her website, her products. She's a really, really incredible woman and an incredible business owner. All right, Gaelle, welcome to the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. I'm so excited for our listeners to hear your story and just get to know you, because so much of the conversation that we've been having in the past year is about starting our own lines and what that looks like. And for you being an esthetician and then transitioning into the space of starting your own line, I know you just have so much knowledge that's just going to be incredible for so many people to hear. And I also know that you are so knowledgeable when it comes to natural beauty, clean beauty, green beauty, all of those things. And I'm just excited for our listeners to get to know you. So thank you for being here.
And thank you for having me.
So let's just give me kind of in a nutshell, your background. Like, how did you get to where you are today? I know you were a fashion model. I know you have all these like interesting stories, but how did you get on the path of becoming an esthetician and then deciding to start your own brand?
Well, it actually started when I was quite young, in my early 20s. I was a model, and I wasn't very tall. I was only 5'5", so I couldn't do high fashion all the time. So mostly I had this high fashion face with a 5'5" body. So I did mostly ads for beauty products. Mm-hmm. And at that time I had acne, and pretty bad. And I was always looking for something that would help with the acne, and so that I wouldn't have to put a ton of makeup to hide it. And so I had gone to the doctor, and it only made it worse. And then one day I was in Israel, and I was chosen to be one of the 3 beauties in Israel. It was Miss Israel, another model like myself, and the shoot was at the Dead Sea. And we were in bikinis, and it was for the magazine, The Spiegel. We were going to be on the cover. And I no sooner got into the water, which, has a very high content of salt, that my chest that was covered in makeup because I had a breakout, it just washed away. And I thought, oh my God, I'm on the shoot and I'm exposed. Well, less than 2 minutes later, the acne disappears because the content of the salt was so high that it just basically healed my acne, on my chest. And I thought, wow, I've been going to dermatologists. I've tried this and that, and nothing's working. And here I am in the Dead Sea. And
doesn't the Dead Sea have lots of minerals in the water also? It's not just salt.
Well, this is many years ago. Okay. I'm talking about 50 years ago. It's been depleted now between Israel and Jordan. Mm. So the content of the minerals and the salts now are not what they were years ago. So this is why when we had to look for our salts, now we had to go elsewhere because the salts from the Dead Sea weren't as potent anymore. Mm. But that triggered something in me that, oh my God, something so natural, something from the earth. And it did something to my brain to start thinking, what else is out there that we need to learn and see how it works? And from everything from cosmetics to health, medical. Mm-hmm. We know that medicine comes from plants, just like everything else. It's what they do to it afterwards that creates side effects and problems.
So was the incident where your acne got cleared, was that, I know that kind of triggered something in your brain. Is that when you transitioned from modeling into aesthetics, or was that further?
No, it took many years after. By the time I was in my 30s, early 30s, I had been working with the grand dame of beauty. Her name was Aida Grey. And she wasn't into organics, but she was into everything natural, from eating natural foods, to natural makeups and so forth. And, I told her of my experience, when I was a model and what had occurred and so forth. And we used to have a lot of discussions about what would work and what didn't. And she used to farm out all of her skincare to various cosmetic companies. Mm-hmm. She didn't do it herself. And she wanted to kind of keep it as a secret. So one company did, one thing, and then she'd bring it into her lab and she would add something so that nobody would discover her formula. Also at that time, this is many years ago, you didn't have to list your ingredients the way you do now, which I think is wonderful. Bravo. That we have to do that now of what's in there. Mm-hmm. So about 12 years ago, my daughter, who was very young then, started bringing products into the house that were just toxic. And I would just say to her, you can't use this. You need to, just the way we eat organic, you need to learn to read ingredients on anything that you put on your body, because it's going to get absorbed into your bloodstream. Mm-hmm. You have to be aware. And I also started getting very suspicious of why so many women were giving birth to children who had ADD, ADHD, coming in with all these problems. I said, like everything else in our world, and mostly in medicine, they give you a pill for everything. They don't really look to see the cause. And I've always been interested in the cause. What's causing this? So I started teaching her, and then she said to me, well, if you're so smart, Mom, why don't you start your own line? She kind of challenged me, and I said, maybe I will.
And that's
I do know a lot, and I do know
when you're
and that's
Gaelle Organics.
And then as a joke, I said, I'll call it Gaelle Organic, because that's what I believe in. Everything should be organic. Organic, natural. Some things you can't get salt, which we use in our exfoliant. It's not organic. It comes from the sea. It's natural, but all our other ingredients are organic. And when we started the company, I started doing research on what the difference between USDA organic is as opposed to Ecocert. And I said, I want to go Ecocert. I don't want to put alcohol. You have to use 14% alcohol in USDA organic. And even if it's an organic alcohol, it's still alcohol. It's still drying. It's like so many people say, oh, I drink organic wine. I said, yes, it still has preservatives in it. It still has the same, side effects as regular wine. The only thing that you're getting that's organic is the grape. I said, that's better, but just, you still have everything else in it, all the sulfites. So I wanted to really stick to being as pure as I possibly could be. And it took a lot of work. Because we didn't want to use, you have to worry about emulsifiers and preservatives. And till today, our products basically have a shelf life of 1 year, except for our soap. It can last longer, and the exfoliant, because of the salt in it. And the salt is a natural preservative. But I made that choice, and I said it's going to be hard for shops to order from us because they like things that they can keep on their shelf for 5 years. So
I thought it was, and correct me if I'm wrong, but from the brands that I worked with, it's typically 2 years from manufacture date is the kind of standard shelf life.
They keep it longer. If you alcohol, you can leave it there forever.
Right, but the other actives.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I made that choice, and I felt, okay, if it hurts me in the shop, so be it. I don't want to put alcohol in, because once you do that, then there's this, what I call a game for selling. You buy a product, it's going to dry your skin in the long time. And they say, oh, well, you need a night cream. You need an afternoon cream. You need an eye cream. And I made a commitment that I wanted to be, I wanted my company to have integrity, to be honest. And if people wanted, shelf life longer, then we weren't for them.
Mm-hmm. So would you say, when you're thinking about the philosophy of your brand, because there really is, my personal philosophy in life is like, to each their own, right? Like
what works
for,
and their own,
to each their own, because some people are like, you've got to be vegan or you've got to be whatever. And then other people are like,
yes, I totally agree with you.
And it's like, what works best for you? And it seems like your brand is a really wonderful niche brand for those who truly genuinely care about, I want organic, I want clean, like truly clean beauty.
Yes.
Truly clean beauty.
Yes. The thing that we're very proud of here in the company is our results. Because if you're organic and people aren't getting results, you don't have a business.
Right.
Down to that. So I've discovered, I'm 75 years old. I need all the help I can get now because of age. This is what happens. We have two choices. Either we age or we die. There are no other choices you're going to get. So you want to look good. And I also have super sensitive skin. Mm-hmm. And I can't use anything that has perfume in it or alcohol in it. So I'm a great tester for everything because I flare up very easily from foods, from cosmetics. If there is any ingredient in there that is impure. I'm just one of those. And in a way, it's a blessing because right now we're working on 4 new products that I'm very, very excited about. I tested our new serum and I'm just thrilled. We live in Ojai, and because of the fires, I don't know if you heard about the Thomas fires.
I know there's always fires.
Yeah, well, I'm in California. Okay. And Ojai is a valley. Mm-hmm. So every time there is a problem and there is a fire in California, we get the after effects. Mm. It comes into the valley. And for the last, I would say 3 or 4 months, I had this rash underneath my eye and on my lip. And I thought, and I drove myself crazy. I went to the dermatologist and it made it worse because, of course, they use things that are toxic and I can't put anything toxic on my face because of my sensitivity. So finally, through a friend, he said to me, you know, Gaelle, Ojai has the worst air quality in all of Ventura County. I said, really? And he explained to me what was going on here, just like I told you. All the air, all the fire, all the debris, everything lands right here in this valley. So about a couple of months ago, I went back to research and I started putting things together for how to deal with this. This is an issue. I'm living here. I don't see myself moving in the next couple of weeks or months or so forth. And I developed this new serum, and I can't tell you how elated I am that it works, and I got rid of the rash. That's the exciting part for me.
So what do you, in starting your company and building your company, going through the point where your daughter said, why don't you just start your own brand, into building it to where it is today? What has been your greatest lesson in that entire process?
Be willing to fail. Be willing to go in, try something, and it might not work. When we first started making our products, I can't tell you how many times I just threw it out. I said, this is not working. I'm not seeing results. I have to see results. And as you make mistakes and fail, you grow and you learn. And that's the greatest lesson, I think, for all of us. You can't learn without the mistakes, So I made the mistakes, and in making the mistakes, I really educated myself, and my instincts got stronger, about, this will work with this percentage. I'm going to cut it down because I want the other ingredient to be more active. And you learn as you really go along. I'm not a scientist. We have one scientist that we work in if we get into a problem, and it's usually with, how we're mixing the emulsion, if the machine is the right machine, if we're using the right amount. It's just basically technicalities, but you need those technicalities because the product has to be perfect and the product has to work. So the greatest lesson is making mistakes. Be willing to make a mistake. You're going to make mistakes. Things aren't going to work, but you're going to learn from that. And that's how you build your own confidence. And
one thing that I love about you, and I say this with the most respect, but I love that you're 75 and that you're still so passionate and excited. And I know when we were talking earlier, you're like, what did you expect? And it's
I'm not dead yet.
I think it's so, because so many women get into aesthetics as a second career, right? Maybe they raise their kids, or maybe they always wanted to go to aesthetic school, but they it wasn't the, what are you going to go to beauty school? Like it wasn't the right choice from other people, and they decide when they're in their 40s or 50s and they have this perception that they're too old at that point. And I'm like, 40 or 50, like I'm going to be 40 in a couple months. I don't feel old at all. I'm a baby. I love seeing successful, accomplished, passionate women that are not in their 20s. I love that. And I think it's just such a motivating thing that so much of that is up here.
Yeah. And this is the same thing. A 20-year-old can't possibly have the experience of a 50 and a 75-year-old. You can't. You haven't had that time to have the experience. As smart as you can be, you can't replace experience and actually testing what works, what doesn't work. And as far as age, I've always felt as long as you're healthy, thank God, and being healthy, you have to commit to really taking care of yourself. I exercise every day. I eat very well. I use my own products. And I can't imagine not working. I think that would age me and bore me. I need to have a project. I need to have something that stimulates me. It's basically my personality too.
So how old were you? Were you 63 when you started the skincare brand?
About that, yeah.
Yeah.
About that, yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and it was only, I didn't know I was going to start a business. I started with one cream and one thing led to another. And then I gave it, my friends were using really expensive products and I knew that I could do better. I looked at the ingredients. I knew enough even then that, you like this? Great. I hope it smells great because of the perfume. They spent a fortune on the bottle. And so I went to it and all of them fell in love with this cream and started pushing me. Then my daughter and then my husband says, well, you're doing something right. They all want more of this cream. What are you doing? And then I said, well, I need a cleanser. You have to cleanse your face first. And then I thought, I need a toner because, I'm seeing people with large pores. You have to tighten those pores, if you want to have skin that really looks great. And then you need to exfoliate. And then as I came across different issues with skin and different skin types, I started developing my different products. These 4 products that I'm developing now one of them came out of my own issue of this awful rash that I couldn't get rid of. And it was a sight. And I don't wear makeup. I don't like it, base. I like my skin to breathe. And I had to cover if I had a meeting or anything because it was not very attractive, this rash. And then now with this new serum, which I hope will be out by the end of April or beginning of May. Wow, that's exciting. So as things come along and issues come along of what is needed, I just go to the drawing board and start doing my research. And when I don't know something, we can all learn everything we want to learn. It's all so available. And it took years for us to really research who had the best ingredients, because that is vital to anything you make.
So let's go there for a second, because I remember you saying that where you source your ingredients and how like certain ingredients, if they're grown next to a pasture, that like that whole process. So how do you even start that of like researching and understanding what quality ingredients are?
Okay, so this is where Ecocert comes in. Every ingredient we have, and I'm not exaggerating, has a book this thick, which is about like 6 inches wide, and it tells you everything. The origin, of where it comes from, what country, where it is, the perimeters around where they're growing it, because as I had mentioned last time, if it's not near other organic farms, and outlets, the birds in the springtime, they bring over, the seeds from the other place to the organic place. And guess what? It's not organic anymore. They mix everything up. So it has to have a large perimeter of being organic, and it has to be with other organic fields. Mm-hmm. It's very complicated, and it takes time to really research it. But you then get all these documents that prove, where this ingredient comes from, how it's made, how it works with formulas, how the results are. All these things are pretty much done for you from the company, the various companies, that you get your ingredients
you're sourcing from. The ingredients
the
from.
Resourcing, right. I always had this fantasy. I had two fantasies. One, I wanted to grow all my ingredients. Well, that's impossible. You would need thousands of acres, number one. Two, you need different climates for different ingredients. Like we get several things from Switzerland. I live in California. I can't grow my Edelweiss, in California. It has to come from Switzerland. So we resourced all of our ingredients of who was really the best resource. And then we test it, because we'll get, let's say, pomegranate oil. We got like about 5 different pomegranate oils that were organic. And we test each one separately and see which one gives us the best results. It's very time consuming. You need a lot of patience. Mm-hmm. But the results are just wonderful when you do that. And I learned years ago when we wanted to work with a scientist, and I asked her how she worked, and she said, well, I test things. It usually takes me 6 months to a year before I can come up with a product. And I thought, well, she's doing the same thing I'm doing. You need to test it. It's not, this is a good ingredient, I'm going to go ahead and make my product. No, it's very time consuming. What I would say is you need to be patient. You need to know, have a sensitivity, which thank God I do, because of my skin, and I can see results. And because of my age, I can see things more readily than if I tested on somebody who was 23. Mm-hmm. Unless I have several groups like very dry skin, acne, a sensitivity skin. And when I'm trying to test for different things, I test different people, not just myself. But I would say I'm pretty good because I have all these issues that I deal with. So I'm a great tester for things. And because I had a sensitivity like that, even when I was younger, when I was working with Aida Grey, she used to call me her canary. Every time she wanted something tested, she'd go, "Where's Gaelle?" And she'd test it on me, and I would flare up in seconds,
Wow. So it's sometimes the things that we think are problems are actually our greatest gifts.
Yes. Especially if you use it, say, well, gee, I'm so sensitive. This is a good thing. I'll know if something is going to irritate somebody, And you need a lot of patience. You need a lot of perseverance. And you need to love the process because it takes a long time.
So let me have you just, what I found with working with a variety of different lines, I see that they tend to have like a couple of superstars, and then they fill in the gaps around with great products, but they're kind of like supporting, right? So what are your superstars in your line?
I make sure that every one of my products is a superstar or I won't put it out. It's something that when I'm asked to speak, the thing that I love doing is getting women to think. Mm-hmm. They say to me, why don't you have an eye cream? I say, your skin is not different around your eyes than it is all over. It's thinner, which means it absorbs faster. Just think about that. You've got thinner skin under your eyes. So whatever you put there will absorb faster than any other place. your skin doesn't change from morning, afternoon to night. When you're sleeping, you're resting. And we all know that when you are relaxed, everything works better. So if you're putting on a cream, of course, it's going to absorb better because hopefully you're relaxed when you're sleeping. But you don't need a day cream and a night cream. That's sheer nonsense. You need a good cream, and you need a good.
I don't know. I like my night cream. I like my night cream, but I like having something thicker at night.
Just put it on heavier. And the other thing, when you go to sleep, I always tell everyone, put it on 20 minutes before you go to sleep, or your pillow's going to enjoy it. You're going to spend all that money for your pillow to enjoy your cream. Make sure it gets absorbed. So when you go to sleep, you're not putting it all over your pillow.
Have you used those silk pillowcases? Because I love those.
Yeah, I've heard wonderful things about them.
Yeah, I have one. I love it.
Yeah. I change my pillow every day. I have
every
to think
day.
about every day the pillowcase, not my bed, the pillowcase, because I think it's really important to sleep on a clean pillowcase. We breathe on our pillows, our skin gets on our pillows. So it's just a habit that I have. I'm not saying everyone else should do it, but I like a clean pillowcase. You can turn it over. You don't have to change it. But I would say every 2 days I change my pillowcase. I have lots of pillowcases. So that wouldn't work for me. Yeah. And one of the things I really advocate for women is that they learn to give themselves their own spa treatment at home. I can't tell you how important that is. Everybody loves going to the spa and being pampered. It's wonderful. It relaxes you. And I always say, never just get, a facial, get a body massage and a facial, because the body all works together. And if you're relaxed, whatever they're doing to your face will be that much better. Mm-hmm. So I'll put on my favorite music, when I do a mask and exfoliate and relax myself. And I get wonderful results doing that, as opposed to like just running around, which I'll do sometimes if I'm in a hurry. And I see the difference of when I'm relaxed, what that mask does, as opposed to I'm just, doing something else and not keeping myself relaxed.
I think that's so, and even, yes, being relaxed, but also the effects that cortisol has on our
yes.
skin. It's like
Absolutely.
That's such an important.
Absolutely. I totally agree. My medicine is music. I love music. And I play it depending what mood I'm in. And that's what they do in spas too. They play relaxing music and it works. Mm-hmm. And creating an atmosphere that is very nurturing for yourself. Mm-hmm. I love candles, I mean, it's really important that we really cherish ourselves, honor ourselves, and take good care of ourselves for our health, to look good. Because when you look good, you feel good. It all goes together. You can't separate it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I can't tell you how many times, a woman will say to me, I'm a smoker. Will this work for me? It's not as good as if you don't stop smoking. I mean, it's the truth.
Yeah.
So
people still smoke. I'm like,
people still smoke. And they say, oh, but I have such anxieties. And I say, well, I want to let you know a secret. The more you smoke, the more anxiety you're going to have. What your body is begging for is for you to learn to breathe. And I said, before you take a cigarette, take 10 very calming breaths, and then ask yourself if you still want that cigarette. The Europeans, they're still smoking. A very few Americans, I think, smoke. I haven't seen anyone smoke. But if you go to Europe and you go any place, they're sitting in cafes smoking still.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Okay. So tell our listeners where they can find your products if they want to learn more about your brand. You have website, social, like where are the places?
Our website, I would say, is the best. We're on social, Facebook, Twitter. What's the other one? I'm very bad. I don't do the social stuff. We have somebody else doing it like everyone else. I mean, if it depended on me, it would never get done, the social stuff. But yeah, we're all over the place.
We'll include the links because your name is spelled Gaelle.
Right, correct. And
Perfect.
if they go to Gaelle Organic, singular, a lot of people go for Gaelle Organics. It's not plural, it's singular.com. You get all the information. We have a site just about our ingredients. So you can really find out about each particular ingredient, what it actually does for you. So it's not like we're just throwing something in there and saying, oh, look at all the ingredients we use. We use a lot of ingredients, true. But we also want you to know why we use all these ingredients, because they all have a different function and they all work together. That's a thing that it takes many years to learn about what works together and what doesn't. Mm-hmm. One of my other fantasies was I was going to just do one product that was going to solve all the problems that you have on your skin. Well, that's a fallacy too. You can't do that, because it's like making chicken soup and putting in tomatoes and beans. And so you don't have chicken soup anymore, and it does something different. Well, in skincare, it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. One cream can't do everything. We try our best. I do personally, to limit, because I don't like a lot of products, a lot of stuff. I'm a minimalist by nature, and I like keeping things simple. And nobody wants to go in and think, oh, I need 4 serums and I need 4 masks. One of the things that I'm seeing people doing with masks now, which it's like they're serving lunch, strawberry mask, blueberry mask, apple mask. And I don't get it, because it doesn't do anything. It's very nice that you think you have
experience. It's the experience to have the algae mask that I know for me.
Well, algae is fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's flowers in them, and there's all kinds of, it's all about creating that whole experience for relaxation, I think, is why there's all the different types of masks.
Yeah.
But when skincare can be experiential or it can be results focused.
I'm very results focused. If you want something that smells good, get a candle. There's so many wonderful candles out there. Put your favorite perfume on. We are very oriented in results. Show me. Let me see what you look like. Because I love it when I run into a client and she's just glowing and she hugs me. She says, oh, Gaelle, thank you so much. We have many clients right here where we live in Ojai. And I love seeing that. It's very rewarding. Can you imagine doing something and then the person does not look well? I would feel awful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Well, very good. Well, Gaelle, thank you so much for sharing your time, your energy, your knowledge. I think that this is going to be really valuable for a lot of our listeners, and we'll be sure to include all of the links below this video. So for any of you that want to keep the conversation going, be sure to head over to the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast and tag us in the group, and go and check out Gaelle's line, Gaelle Organic.